Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Featuring Code. It's been a while. Thank you for my 20 subscribers. Really appreciated for subscribing to my channel. In today's video, because these are lessons, I want to talk about dependency injection in NextJs. Because on the projects at my last job, we worked a lot with object-oriented programming, which meant that all of the services that we were using were defined as classes. And I came to like working like this. I find that it's very useful for organizing your code, and that's why I want to show you how you can do dependency injection and use classes in Next.js for your services, repositories, and what have you. So let's get to it. First of all, I've already started and created some classes. For example, I'm having this shared class, which is an API gateway. So for every class that you use, you need to define an interface. These are just, for example, pretty simple classes. So for example, this API gateway interface has a get method on it, which returns a promise. And this is the class. So I'm exporting a default class named API gateway, which implements this API gateway interface, has a constructor, which is a private base URL, and I'm using this base URL to create links to use in my class. So for example, this is just for example purposes, but this would be would implement an HTTP client that would use this base URL to make fetch, get, to make a get, post, update, and so on requests. So this API gateway is going to be at the base of our classes, of our services that need to fetch some data or update some data, which means that for the other classes that I defined, and you see here I defined the user service and the product service. These also are just for as an example. We're gonna use this API gateway class. So for example, this user service, yes, implements the user service interface, which is just a get, it has a get model on it, and it's defined as follows. So it's the user service class, and it has in the constructor a private parameter named API gateway of type API gateway interface. This tells us that we want an object, a class that it has the same methods that are defined here in the API gateway interface. So I'm implementing here the get model. Let me add some spaces to see better. So this is the get model. Let me put also the user interface next here. Oh yeah, it was already there. Anyways, so we have the get model, which returns a promise. So I'm returning a promise. What this get model is doing for our example is waiting for this API gateway to get a user, to get this parameter. So I'm passing an ID and I want the user from this URL. This API gateway will do in the background something and fetch me the data. And for this, I'm just returning a name, email, some favorite products in an array. I also created a product service class, which has a product service interface, which has two methods on it, get product and get user favorites, which again is also needing the API gateway interface. But just for an example, I decided in this product service I would need the user service also. So I'm putting the user service here in the constructor, and I'm telling the class that when I'm instantiating this product service, I would like to have an API gateway and a user service defined here. So for the get product, I'm just getting some data for this product ID, and for the get user favorites, I'm getting the model to get the favorites from the user. This is not a good way to do it, but just for example, so I'm getting the favorites from the user, and then I'm calling this API gateway favorites of this favorites favorites property. And now I just blocked myself because I think, yeah, favorites is it's an array. So let's put it just like 0 dot product. Good. Okay, so we have the classes defined. Now let's actually use them in the code, in a component. So the way we are doing this without dependency injection is that you need to instantiate the class in your component. So for the API gateway, I need to call with the new keyword the API gateway class, and attach to it an URL, the base URL, which I defined here. So I'm wanting this base URL, which here it's called customlink.com. I don't know if this exists. Let me just add some. Okay, I'm not I don't know if that link exists or not, but this shouldn't exist. I need to declare a user service, and this user service is wanting this API gateway because it's expecting it to in one of its methods. So I declared the API gateway and I pass it in the user service. And then I have the user service class, which can call the get model with something. So oh yeah, so I'm calling the get model, and when I have the response, I'm setting the user as my response. Let's put a console log here. Okay, and now let's refresh. Okay, so you saw that the page waited a bit until it resolved, and we have the response, which is an email, the favorites array, and a name, the great name. So I'm using this a user here in the component, which is telling me got model for user dot name, because I set the user here with the set user in the use state. So this might look pretty okay although I don't like it because I need to define a class here and here. But what happens if I need to use the product service? Well, in this case, I need to import the product service. So let's do and instantiate it. So for example, let's do a const product service equals new product service. Okay, thank you for that. Of user service. Okay, great. And now I have this product service, 2 arguments, but it got only 1. Okay, and then so this product service is waiting for the API gateway and the user service. So let's put also this API gateway here. Great. And let's create a method. Let's equals let's see, what should I do with this? Product service. Let's do also a const. Let's use just for this example okay, get favorites, async, wait, await product service dot get user favorites, or let's just get, yeah, let's get the user favorites. Okay, does this expect anything more? Yeah, it wants an ID. Let's pass it an ID here, it doesn't matter because it's all hard-coded data. And then let's just set favs of favorites. Okay, and now let's add a button here. On click, we're gonna call this function get favorites. Okay, and let's display the user favorites. And of course this is an array, so yeah, I'm not gonna, so let's all do I have the Lodash here? No, I don't have it. Let's import Lodash. No, I don't have Lodash. Oh man. Let's install it. Nah, forget it. I'm not gonna do this now. Let's just put the user favorites as where is it? So this is called favs of 0 of name, I think, yeah. Okay, so we have this the favorites. Let's do some good old design. Call the favs. Gonna wait a bit. And what's happening? Response. Okay, it's calling, but why don't I get it here? Let's see. Come on, come on, come on. Where is it? Oh yeah, here. Responses, name, great name. No, not this one. Oh yeah, favorites. Get user favorites. API gateway. This get. Oh yeah, the get returns the service get a model. The get in the API gateway returns the user. No, it returns the fetch URL. Man, what's happening here? Wait a second. Get a model. So the favorites, yes, get model. Where is that user service? Product, okay. Oh yeah, the favorites is this link actually. So yeah, it's not returning. It's not returning an array. It's returning a link because this is what I said to the get user favorites to do. Yup. Favorites. Okay, great. Now let's see. Great, now it works. Let's refresh. Get favs. Wait a bit. And I have this favorites link here, which is returned 2 times. I don't know why. Anyways, so the thing is that when I needed another service, I had to instantiate this and also pass this already instantiated services in the new product service. But let's say now that I want to go on the product to get the product here, from here, yes, and I want to call the get product service here. Well, here is where the bad things happen with object-oriented programming if you don't have dependency injection. In order for me to do product service dot get product of an ID, I need to do again all of the steps that I did here. So I need to instantiate again the API gateway, instantiate again the user service, instantiate again the product service, and then I can have the let's see, okay, product, and then I can have this service available to call. So for example, let's use effect let's call it only once. Okay, let's do product service dot get product of an ID, then see const prod, let's put it like this, set use state set prod of response. Okay, I have the response, and let's put this prod here. Let's put it here. Yeah, h1. So the product from the service, and is this prod. Okay, let's add some great design here. Okay, now let's go to the product page. Is not defined. Why isn't it defined? Didn't it import it? No, it didn't import it. Let's import it then. Add import and add import. Okay. Let's refresh. Go to product. And we have the link from the service on this page. So now you can make the conclusion that if you would use other services and you would have other classes and so on and so forth, you would need a lot of instantiating in each component that you would need that class to be used. And for this very problem comes the concept of dependency injection, inversion of control, and let's get to it. This is made by installing a library called, well, there are multiple libraries, but the one that I used is called InversifyJs. So it's this one, InversifyJs, and you just install this and you will have dependency injection in your application. Okay, let's see what this InversifyJs is all about. So as it says, it's a powerful and lightweight inversion of control container for JavaScript and Node.js application. But too long didn't read. This lets you inject classes in other classes and then just get those classes in your components without the need to instantiate all of the other all of the classes anytime you every time you need to use them, for example like this. So let's look a bit on the documentation. So in order to install it, we need to install Inversify and reflect metadata, and to add this these options in the compiler options of your tsconfig file. I already installed this in the project previously before getting into this video, but the only options that I added in this tsconfig file were the reflect metadata types and these experimental decorators and emit decorator metadata true. Okay, and now let's look a bit on the basics of this. So what you would like to do is, of course, as we already have here, to have interfaces for the classes that you want to use. So here they have a warrior interface, a weapon, and a tropple weapon. And important, you need to have a types file in your application. So let's create this, or no, I will create it later. So you need to have this types file, which is a type for, which are actually symbols that you will use to identify the classes. So this is what they are needed for. And the way you will write your classes is by using this injectable and inject decorators. So this you import them from InversifyJs. You also need this reflect metadata. This reflect metadata will be imported only once in your application. I import it in the app tsx component, which is the base component of our application, and then you declare the classes so as injectable. So as you see, katana is an injectable class, shuriken is an injectable class, and ninja is an injectable class. But the ninja class also wants the other classes like katana and shuriken. And the way it accesses these classes is in the constructor. You use this inject keyword of your type that you declared. This is you declare the type weapon for the katana, and keep in mind katana is of type interface, so you're not you won't bind this type to the actual class, but you will bind it to an interface, which is better because you would you can change the classes in the future, but to have the same interface. So it's not going so this weapon can be a katana, which is this class, but it can be also what other no, I don't know, a bat or something that you can hit with. Yes, the ninjas used bats when they existed. And also you inject this trouble weapon, which is this shuriken class, which is of type trouble weapon. So is this shuriken class. Okay, and then you just you can then use this as properties in your class, in your ninja class. And also you can export this, but yeah. So what else? Oh yeah, you can use also property injection instead of constructor injection, and you can also use I like to inject in the constructor and just leave it like this. So I won't use katana, I would use katana without this this underscore, and I will just write private in front of it here. And what you need in order to make the magic work, to make this whole injection work, is to have a container that actually binds the classes. So the way you do this, you import a container from Inversify, and you declare here the new container, and then you bind. So you bind to the interface, not to the actual class, as you see here. So you bind the type of type interface. So type, yeah. So you bind to this type warrior, the type the interface, the type interface warrior, and this is bound to the ninja class. So I don't know if I express myself correctly. So you have this types warrior, which you declared in the types file. This is an identifier. So this warrior identifier is of type warrior, which is an interface. And whenever you will call this type warrior of interface warrior, you will get this ninja class. Here also, whenever you will call this type weapon of interface weapon, you will get the katana class, and here the shuriken class. And you export the my container, and then in your components you can just import your container that you defined, and also import the types and the warrior, and you can then get the class. And the way you get it is like this. So you put the interface here and the symbol that you have bound. So for this ninja constant, you will receive an interface warrior that is identifiable with this warrior type. And as we said earlier, you will, for this combination, you will get this ninja class. And then you can, as you see in this test, you can expect everything to work. So this was about the theory. Let's see, we already have the interfaces. Let's create a types file. So I created some a folder structure. This is so here it will leave the application, which is not pages. So here we will have components, API, controllers, the store, shared components, or shared utilities and whatnot. So let's get into this container. As you already have some services and the interfaces here. Let's create an index file, ts. Okay, and let's do this. Well, actually no, let's create sorry, first we're gonna have this index ts, but let's create the type. Okay, the container types, and let's create export const types equals, what's this? Okay, so for my example application, I have these interfaces. Let's split. Right. Okay. So I have the user service, I have the product service, and I have also the API gateway. So let's create some types for this, because I will need the API gateway. Let's call it, let's see, Uh, okay, symbol for API gate. Okay, let's create a symbol, a type for user service. Symbol for user service, and let's create a type for the product service. Symbol for. Great, so I have the types. Now what do I need? Let's declare the dependencies using injectable and inject decorators. Okay, so now I need to go to each class and oh yeah, let's first import this reflect metadata as I said, and I'm gonna go to app.tsx and import it right here. Great, I have the reflect metadata, and now let's work on the services. So I don't need these interfaces anymore. Let's get to the API gateway. Okay, so I need to make this injectable. Let's import this. And add the add injectable here. Oh, without this. Okay, great. Good. So now this class API gateway is injectable. Now let's go to the user service class. Let's make this also injectable. Okay, let's move this here. What's the issue? Oh yeah. Okay, great. And now I need the API gateway of type API gateway interface, so I will use this as inject. Okay, let's inject this. Let's import the types. Okay, types API gateway. Great. And now I have this API gateway. Let me just check a bit to see. Okay, so I have this private API gateway. Let's go to the product service and do the same thing. Okay, let's copy this. Let's copy this. And let's inject the API gateway. Let's import the types, great. And let's inject the user service also. Great. And now let's go to the container. So now I will go to this index that I created, import this container from Inversify, import the types from types, and we also will import the interfaces and entities. Let's create the container, call it app container, not my container, or let's call it, no, let's call it app container. It sounds better. And now let's bind it. Bind. Where is the? Let me just take this for as an example. Okay, my container bind. So I'm gonna bind the API interface. So API gateway interface of type API gateway to API gateway. Great. Let's bind the user service interface of types user service to user service. And great, and let's bind the product service to okay, what else? I need to export, if I remember. Yup. So let's export this app container. Okay, so we have the container. Let's see. And now let's use this container in our classes, in our components. So how do we do this? Well, I'm gonna get this app container. Service equals app container. How was it here? So it's gonna be something like this. Let me copy here to have it. Get type user service of types user service. Let me differentiate a bit. I have this thing. Okay, so we have the types here. Let's import this. No, how the control point. Okay, control point. Okay, great. And now let's delete this. Well, actually, let's only delete this right now because I'm using the product service. And right now we should have a working multi-inject annotation. What's this I hear about? Inject or multi-inject annotation argument. Doesn't the user service have using required inject? I think I know what's happening, but let me just check first. So we have the injectable inject. Okay, we have the product service injectable inject and the API gateway. I think maybe I need to run dev again. Maybe. Let's see. Nope, it didn't fix the issue. User service. But why does it say that? Okay, let's get back to Google and see what the issue might be. Yeah. Okay, confirm. You know what, let me just pause it until I find the solution. Okay, so I found the solution. I forgot. Yeah, this is the solution. So I need to install these modules. And I thought that this was already done, but it's not. Anyways, let's install. Save dev, if I remember. Let's see. Yeah, save dev. Okay, so after installing, let's create a Babel file. JS, and let's add the code from here. Okay, and let's run. And I really hope that it will work. Yeah, whew, man. Okay, so it works finally. Yes, it works. Hallelujah. Okay, so while I was investigating, I also saw that we need this API gateway to be to be defined. We need to map a value to it, and in this case, when registering this well, actually, let me just commit this, because this is an important commit. Adds feature or fix adds by dependencies. Okay, good, great. So we need in our services, so for example in this user service, I need to have this API gateway already initialized with a link, which means if I bind this API gateway the way I bind the other classes, I won't have this initialization here. So what we can do is to bind it to a constant value, and so we're binding the API gateway interface to a constant value, which is declared here as a new API gateway, and we bind it with this link that we passed over here. This means that whenever we call now the API gateway, for example for this get a user's ID, we will use this link here, and we can see this by looking here. Let's see if yeah, so you see we're calling the container link .ccom users abc. Okay, and what else? Okay, now let's get also so I have the user service. Let's get the product service as well. So we make the app container get product service. We can delete this, and let's see what's the issue here. Product service interface. Yeah, I played a bit while I was on pause. Okay, and now this means that if I get the favs, I should have the product service called, which is good. And we can say goodbye to this API gateway, because we don't need it anymore, and we don't need to import the services again. So we just can make this get of the product services, of the services that we need in the file. Also here we don't need all of these declarations anymore. We just can do something like this. Let's import it. Let's import this also, and import the app container. Great, and delete this. Great, and now when I will go to the product page, we will get this container, the container link. So we will get the service from the container. This is the advantage that we have from using InversifyJs. Let me JS. Okay, and yeah, that's about it, but we can also do some improvements to this. Let's see, we have this so there's a tutorial that I used, I think is this one, I don't remember exactly, but as you see here, you need to import the app container and get the user service and the product service interface. This is a solution, but you could create a hook for your React app, and just instead of importing the container in every file, you can use that hook. So you import the hook, and you could do something like use let me find something, so like a use injection, and you can do the getting of the container in that injection hook. But I don't think I will do the hook implementation in this video. I will leave the links in the description, and yeah, I start to think that the hook is an overkill, because you need to create a provider for the container, and then the actual hook to use it in the app. So yeah, maybe that is a bit of an overkill. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, this was the example of adding InversifyJs to the NextJs app. Let me push these commits. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.